Over the last 11 years, Simon and I have figured out some exceptionally good ways and some simple ways to save more money so that we can invest more money and ultimately create choices in our lives sooner. Now, in today's video, we're going to break down 4 or 5 tactical tips and tricks that we're using right now, and every single week, every single month, we've got money left over which we can invest into assets. So the first tip, man, is paying yourself first, which I know you've been really good at during your investment journey in the accumulation phase recently. Like, how do you work that on a weekly, monthly basis?
I think it's so important, and regardless if you're just starting or you're a really successful investor, this is going to carry itself the whole way through your investment journey. But essentially, it's as simple as soon as you get paid, you allocate yourself some savings from that pay every single week. Now, depending on how you operate, like a lot of PAYG employees, that's the easiest and the best way to do it. But there's, different people, business owners and things like that, where it can be a little bit different. But essentially, it's just that habit, that process of ensuring that as soon as you get some money into your account, you're allocating yourself a portion of that savings. I like to do it as a percentage as opposed to like a set figure, because then as your wage increases over time, which for most people it's naturally going to happen, those savings increase as well. I think that's what a lot of high performers do, because so many people do a dollar figure, then they'll start earning more money, but they'll keep the same dollar figure. So it's like, if you can go as a percentage, I think that's going to speed it up hell quick, hey?
I love that, man. So you and I both started, you were earning money while you were at uni. I wasn't earning money until I finished uni, outside of like a little cleaning job and a little bar job. But, we both started on 45K, and even from that first moment, we both committed. Now, I remember you when you first got your first chunk of cash and you're like, man, I really miss downhill mountain biking. You had about $10,000 in the bank or 7 grand. You're like, I could buy the sweetest bike now.
Yeah, seriously, like just being able to like delay that gratification, because it's so interesting, when you're in your early or mid 20s and it's like for the first time in my life, and for a lot of people, it's the first time you've had some cash there, and it's like, oh shit, the world's my oyster. I can buy a new car, I can buy a boat, I can buy a mountain bike, I can go on a holiday or whatever it is. But
and most people don't stop doing that till they're 40.
Yeah, seriously. But I'm only like, now that I've set the assets up, it's like, okay, now I'm like, okay, maybe you can get yourself a boat. Maybe you can do these little things for yourself, because I think it's important to make sure that you get those like things that bring you joy, those things that bring you happiness, little hobbies and things like that, because you're going to be doing this for your whole life, basically. So as long as you're still celebrating, you're still, feeding that like passion in your life.
As long as you're still paying yourself first and buying that shit with the leftover money, but don't buy that shit first. Keep the habit of paying yourself first, whether you're at property 1 or property 400.
Exactly. So that's just a stock standard one. But I think something that you've done really well and has been super beneficial in your journey is offset accounts as well. So we'll go into like the different bank accounts soon, but I think talking to those offsets, because basically they are your bank accounts, right?
They are, yeah. So all an offset account is, and I know many of you know what they are, you get your home loan when you say you borrow $400,000 from the bank, you've got a $400K home loan.
Yeah.
And then some banks will let you set up an account which is like a savings account, but they call it offset. And so let's say I've got $200,000 cash in the offset account and a 400 grand home loan.
Yeah.
I only pay interest on the difference between what's in the offset and the home loan. So I'm actually only paying interest on 200 grand. That is massive. Like, you can save yourself big bucks. Why I do it like that in offset versus paying off the debt of the home loan is because I can take the money from the offset like a savings account anytime I want. If times get bad, if I lose my job, if a business doesn't work, or if the market, we go through a GFC or something, it gives you protection and safety, but it's only good for those people that are good at saving.
Yeah.
If you're shit house at saving, then, talk to your financial advisor about another strategy.
Yeah. That's one thing that, I've always found tricky with those offset accounts is how easy it is to access that money.
Easy.
So you got to be super diligent, but worthwhile always having a chat with your broker, seeing whether or not you've got access to an offset account or what the process is for setting one up, because a lot of people are sitting there with a bunch of cash offsetting their home loans, or just sitting there in a bank, and it's like sometimes it can be put to better use in that offset account rather than sitting in any old savings account right now.
Fully, bro. Now, the next one is reducing expenses, which you and I have both been great at. Or me and your partner have both been great at.
I was about to say, me personally, not so much. Can I delegate that task? Yes, I can.
Yeah, you can. Like, you've got like the dream in terms of like how Tay wants to do that stuff. But
yeah.
Talk to me about some of the little ways that you save money in your life, and I'll share a few of mine.
Yeah, so I think it's just always about being on top of the finances for sure, understanding where the money is going and when. That really gives you a lot of clarity. But then just using it as a way to increase your savings, or using it as a way to just have a little bit more cash at the end of the day. So for me, I just went out there over the last 3-4 years and I've just bought 4 properties, but not with any strategic approach for reducing these fixed expenses in my life, like insurances, like the mortgages, offset accounts and things like that, because I was just hustling to get into the market. But now I've finally had that space and that opportunity to kind of look at these things and set it up. So I had my properties with different insurance companies paying different premiums. I ended up calling up Allianz, well, Tay ended up calling up Allianz and going, hey, we've got 4 properties, we've got 2 cars. We want to really get our insurances set up the best possible way. And they're like, we will give you a 20% reduction on every single policy if you come over to us right now.
I need to get Tay to call them for me.
Maybe she FaceTime
what
or something.
What are you doing, Tay?
But so that was one really, really epic way. And then, that was, I think we ended up saving like $2,500 per year across the portfolio.
That's a one line item, right?
Yeah.
Most of us have like 10 to 20 fixed expenses in our lives a year.
Yeah. Now that's either extra savings, or you could look at it as like, okay, well, that's all of our birthday and Christmas gifts for the family and the nieces and the nephews.
Spray it, bro.
Spray that cash.
Give me some of that money.
Well, it's a choice now, right? Because I've got it back. It's actually a choice. So insurance is first one for sure. Mortgages as well, just went through that process of refinancing and completely reducing the amount of interest that I'm paying on all of them. Fixed a couple of them to increase my savings a little bit as well. But that was over an $8,000 savings on the portfolio from just refinancing.
If you can save 1% per annum, and almost everybody watching this could hustle with their broker and get a 1% saving if they're coming off like a 3 or 4% base right now. 1% on $1 million is literally like $10,000 per year of savings. You know what I mean? Like on 500K, it's what, $5,000 a year. Like we're talking massive money. Simon and I have both gone through this process finally, because we finally both finished buying properties now for this cycle, or this stage of this cycle. I'll probably buy another property this year, but I'm saying for now.
Spoil for choice.
But you know what I mean? Like every dollar helps, and it's like, what if you could save 10 grand across your properties per year for the next 30 years? It's $300,000 that you can pay off the debt.
Exactly. And then we've got things like the phone bill as well. So, you've just gone from the whole family over to Audi Mobile, and you're paying what, like $100 for the whole family or something like that?
Not even. Like we were paying $300 for 3 phones with Telstra. We've gone down to Audi and we're paying, $65 a month for 3 phones, unlimited calls, messages, texts. It's insane.
Yeah, it's so good. We're pretty thrifty like that as well. So we actually have just renovated our home. We went into the Good Guys to get some new appliances. And on the day they were running this special where they were giving you a $1,000 gift voucher to spend in store if you transitioned over to Telstra. So Tay and I both did it. So we got $2,000 for free, for nothing, to spend in the store. And then we only have to be in that contract for 12 months. So it ended up being that we had our phone bill paid 100% over that 12-month period. So we got free phones for 12 months. And then essentially after that 12 months, we're going to do exactly that. Go back to the Audi once we've got all of that sorted out, taking advantage of it. So sometimes it's about like using those little things to your advantage if the numbers make sense.
100%. Like another easy, simple one is shopping at the local like fruit and veg market or organic market. Like I've found that the markets on the sunny coast and some of the fruit shops for organic produce are cheaper than they are at Coles and Woolies. Sometimes like buying like good quality organic or free range meat from Audi is like literally a quarter of a price of like a bigger shop or a butcher. So there's hundreds of ways. What I suggest for you is to write down what the fixed expenses in your life are, like electricity rates, water, insurances, cars, petrol, and just look at, trying to scrape a little bit off the top. If you can save 10% off 50 or 60 grand a year of fixed expenses, or 100 grand, that's all money that can go towards getting you financially free sooner.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, like after doing my spreadsheet and figuring out exactly what those fixed costs are and going through the process of reducing them as much as I possibly can, it's like, oh wow, like this portfolio doesn't actually even cost me that much to hold, which is a really reassuring thing as well.
Something that I did for 10 years as like a fourth idea was I paid myself first in terms of what I wanted to allocate for investing.
Yeah.
But I've always paid myself what I'm prepared to spend on a weekly basis for lifestyle too. So I've just got a card, it's called personal expenses. We literally transfer like X amount of dollars a week to it, and we can spend every cent of that without thinking about it at all, which my wife does every single week, and I spend about $40 of it. And then it's like gets another amount the next week, and it's all good. And it's like, it just allows you to live like you want to feel free, like you want to live the best version of your life. You don't want to script and save.
Exactly. I've done the exact same thing. So I've set up multiple accounts. I've got my mortgage account, which is just constantly increasing every single week, and that just builds up as a buffer. Then I've got my savings account where I put money in there every single week and then top it up at the end of the month when I get my bonuses. And then I've also just got my personal account, which is just my Mojo account, and I just ensure that, there's about $1,000 in there, and then I put in, maybe $300 per week or something, and it's always kind of constantly going up as well. But it just gives you that freedom, if there's a bucks party coming up, like I've got a lot of friends getting married at the moment, they're like, oh, we got to pay for that. Or if there's, a little holiday or something comes up, it just is really nice to just know that you've always got that there ready to rock and roll.
100%. Now, one thing that I've always done, like literally since I was making my first money in my first job after uni, is I just look at my savings account each week. I don't know why, it's just a comfort thing. Like my dad's been doing it for like 35, 40 years. I think I probably learned it from him.
I think this is just what all serious investors do. I think this is what all smart investors are doing, is like constantly reviewing their finances.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know what it is. It's a comfort thing. It's a position thing. Like one of my mentors on the coast, Michael, looks at his daily. Grant Cardone said, if you're not looking at your accounts daily, then you're not really in business. Like, I don't know how I feel about this stuff, but I like to know where I'm at, because I like to always know what my worst case looks like, and I like to know what my fixed expenses and lifestyle looks like, so that I'm always progressing and moving forward.
100%. I look at mine at least once a week in terms of that individual account, but then I do a complete review every single month, which is like, what have I got coming up? Where am I at this month? So nice. I'm prepped. I know exactly what's going to be coming out of my account and when that month, and I'm like ready to go for that, which is super, super, super important. So, having that plan, reviewing that all the time, that's what I wanted to go into, is like actually having a plan for the savings as well, because, I see so many people that are just saving away with no intention. And I've talked to so many people that have been doing this for a long time, and it's like, well, how long's it been since you've talked to a mortgage broker? Because you look like you're in an amazing position right now. So it's like, what we do before we start saving is we talk to the mortgage broker, and it's like, this is our plan, whether it is knocking down and rebuilding a house or building a granny flat or purchasing another property. It's going and talking with the mortgage broker and going, what financial position do I need to be to take this next step? Get a clear dollar figure, and then you can plan for that. Then I go, okay, well, if I've got the capacity to save $500 per week, based on the feedback from the mortgage broker, it's going to take me X amount of months to have that amount of savings, and then I know I can go immediately. Especially when you're operating in a hot market, you need to know when you can get into the market, when you can take action, because the longer that you leave it, it's going to mean that you're going to pay a higher price at the moment.
Without a doubt. Like, I was talking to an incredible new client yesterday that's come on, 32-year-old teacher living in Sydney. She owns a property outright in Port Macquarie. She's got like 700 or 800 grand cash in the bank. There are so many people doing well, but what she didn't have was a clear plan for that money. And so she's watching the government, buy back $5 billion worth of bonds a week at the moment, and is scared about the value of her money in the bank going, being depleted over time. And so she's finally, come to us to talk about the market and to get a plan for her next property, so that she can spend some of that money in an asset that's going to go up in value over the next 15 years. Now, it's important to have a plan, not just for the reason that if the mountain bike comes up or the trip to America that I blew my first deposit on comes up, you know, there's a bigger reason to see through that to pull you through. But it also on a weekly basis keeps you so accountable to the reason I'm putting $300 a week away or $3,000 a week away is for this. And the reason I'm doing that is so that I can be a better dad, a better partner, have a better lifestyle with more choices in 5, 10, 15, 20 years from today. And that pull factor is what you need to get through this, because fucking budgeting, man.
Yeah.
Who wants to do it? Like, who wants to save money?
But once you do this on a consistent basis, it just becomes a habit and it just becomes a process and nothing more than that. If it's set up right, then there should be no stress. It shouldn't be a chore. It shouldn't be an issue, because if you are reviewing it, you know that it's going up. If you've done the work, you've set up your insurances, you've set up your mortgages, you set up your fixed expenses, there's so much more to just like budgeting and saving. It just happens naturally, and then there's always an intention.
It's just all automated for me now.
Exactly.
I love it, bro. So for any of you guys that are interested in more content like this, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, like us on Facey. We've got a podcast called The Pumped on Property Show on Apple and Spotify as well. Check it out. We put somewhere between 1 and a couple of videos out a week. Heaps of cool stuff through the social channels as well. We really wish you all the best. And if you're having a hard time with this or know someone that is, share them this video so that they can get a few little tactical tips and tricks to start moving forward, because there is nothing better as a human than enjoying the present but also feeling like you're moving towards the best version of yourself. So we wish you all the best, guys, and good luck with this.
Thank you.
Sweaty. So sweaty. Oh, that's good.